Greetings and apologies for my unkept hair. This is just a mid-video, just a short video, honestly, to talk about a recent purchase of mine. There's more in the pipeline, but I decided to go ahead and talk about this thing because it's kind of a turd, but at the same time it's kind of charming. What I have here is this HP EliteBook. It is a 725 G2. It's not exactly what I would call a fantastic system, but you do see something interesting here. It is an AMD A10 Pro. It's actually an AMD, and AMD is usually pretty good on Linux. This would be kind of an exception, although it is better than Windows, so for what that's worth. Nothing too crazy in here. Probably one of the coolest things, and I'm going to shut it down to do this. One of the coolest things this system can do. One, it boots fairly quickly. But two, if I just flip it over here. Okay, it's got this back cover. Now I have removed the condoms from the bottom because we're not afraid of getting penetrated from the back. And so I took those off, but it's got this nice little latch here. Well, what does this do? I just took the back cover off. So it's a lot like some of the older Dell Latitudes that I've gotten into, where it's like one button, release this back cover. Case in point, you'll notice this dent here, you know, it's less than ideal. And I've got some broken plastic in here. Again, this is kind of all disintegrated. This stuff's from 2015, which is longer ago than I wish to admit. I did clean out the fan. We did some thermal paste on the CPU. It does have a separate dedicated GPU, which is on there all the time. It's more like an integrated GPU, but this is old AMD we're talking. 8 gigabytes of RAM and dual channel. We could put more RAM in it. It supports 16 gigs just fine. I just don't have the DDR3 to spare, and for what I'm going to use this machine for, it's fine. Wi-Fi card, I did swap for an Intel branded Wi-Fi card. I think this is a Qualcomm Airthros card, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. It had a Broadcom card in it, which did work, sort of. I chose to replace it because I started having Wi-Fi dropouts and weird odd things. I know with Mint I could use the driver manager and install the Broadcom drivers. I could also just chuck that into the trash and grab any other Wi-Fi adapter in my collection to do.
Why don't you get the fuck out of here?
Battery is formed, so over here is the trackpad. I'm not going to take the battery out. It connects up here, but it's got these really weird pogo deals. And then it's also got this retainer right here. It was so finicky, I actually arced it the last time I took it out, so I don't really want to risk it. But that's pretty much all of the insides you could ever want to know about on this thing. And again, this back cover just slides back on, and then you just lock it and it's on. There's a screw in there if you want to screw it on, but it's got, you know, you got your drain holes, and that's pretty much it. It's got a little bit of a rubberized coating on top. I'm sure this will age well and not poorly at all. This thing is pretty low spec. It has Windows 7, which the code is under that battery, which I'll use it in a VM or something, but I'm not going to use it on this machine. A punch out for what would be a fingerprint reader that sadly wouldn't work with Linux even if you tried. The keyboard on this thing is interesting. It's rubber dome. It's not what I would call good, and I used these HPs out of this generation, and this was just, it's a very shallow travel. It reminds me a little bit of the butterfly keyboards that just really weren't that good. So take that for what you will, but it's good. The sound quality on this thing is actually, it's very flat, but because you have a top firing speaker here, it sounds really good. Now, in the past, I've done sound tests, and I haven't been copyright claimed yet, but I don't have good sound tests that would come through right, so I don't know how to deal with that. You know, maybe you guys can suggest something in the comments below, so for now I won't. But you've got dedicated buttons for wireless and Wi-Fi. Those do work in Linux. And if I fire it up here, it does boot fairly quickly. Now there is one gimmick I had to do. I had to go into the BIOS and set custom boot. And with custom boot, you can then set the EFI path of your Linux distro of choice. If you don't do that, it literally won't boot. Or you'll have to go through the F9 boot menu every single time that you want to boot into the system, which is kind of unfortunate. So let me get logged in here, and then we'll get back. The battery is like that. If I even go in to, if I go into devices, yeah. So it claims we're at full battery capacity, and I just don't believe it because this battery drains very quickly. I'm going to try and cycle it, but 1 to 2 hours is about all this thing can manage. And I guess that's okay. It's not a super powerful chip that's in here. I'll admit I have had Haswell generations that were just better. I'd still like to get into a Ryzen powered machine, like a Ryzen laptop or something like that, but I guess if you guys have any suggestions, let me know. I'm looking to eventually replace a few older ThinkPads in my collection that sadly won't support Wayland and are already pretty long in the tooth as it is. One of them is my beloved W520, and so I might do something like that. With that, that's pretty much all I had for this thing. I bought this on a whim while I was buying another project that you guys will get to see on the channel, a Power Macintosh G4, which I paid 25 bucks for. So that you'll have to wait for another video. I have a power supply coming for that. And when it's here, you guys will get to see me install that power supply, troubleshoot, and install classic Mac OS as well as OS X. So if you like the video, go ahead and like the video. And if you want to see more out of the channel, by all means, like, subscribe, do all the fun stuff. Y'all have a great day, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.